Man has hunted wild deer since ancient times, and throughout the world still does so, using skills refined over many centuries. In the Highlands of Scotland, the pursuit of red deer has evolved into a tradition of open ground stalking, almost unique to the area. Though in recent times much of the exertion has been taken from the journey to and from the stalking grounds, the stalk itself still remains a matter of hard walking, climbing, and crawling. In many areas, the long-established practice of using trained ponies to help in moving shot deer off the hill is preferred over the quicker but more intrusive use of mechanized transport. History shows that man's hunting of deer probably began as a group activity using clubs and spears, but with the development of the bow, it became possible for a single hunter to successfully pursue deer. The invention of firearms in the Middle Ages extended the killing range, and the stalking techniques in use today were gradually produced. However, given the improved accuracy of modern rifles and high-powered ammunition, it is still essential that the hunter gets as close as possible to his quarry to ensure clean, swift, and therefore humane kills.
Get away.
Huh?
Again, get away.
Oh, still not done, Kim, but I don't know, Kim.
As a result of the dramatic changes dealt to the natural environment by man over several thousand years, Scottish deer stalking has adapted into a professional fieldcraft rarely seen in modern times. It is hard to believe that these bleak, remote places hold one of the largest concentrated populations of red deer in Europe. And it is the presence of the deer that has influenced the pattern of human existence in these hills for many years. The sportsman's enthusiasm over the centuries for the pursuit of the red deer is the only reason these incredible animals have been preserved. Revenue generated from sporting deer stalking not only contributes to the rural economy of Scotland, but also allows other aspects of wild deer management to be carried out. In Britain today, there are few natural controls on the growth of deer populations other than disease and starvation. If the red deer is to remain a healthy, valuable and ecologically necessary part of our heritage, it is essential that properly regulated deer stalking takes place.
No, it's wrong.
The common image of the red deer held by most people in Britain is the one made popular by Victorian artists. A majestic stag surrounded by his harem of hinds amidst the crags and swirling mists of the Scottish Highlands. By nature, however, the red deer, which in various forms is found throughout the Northern Hemisphere, is more typically a creature of the forest and forest edge. Over much of Britain, the ancient forests had disappeared by the Middle Ages. Large predators became extinct, and deer were forced to change their lifestyle dramatically. In Scotland especially, the red deer was obliged to adapt to a much more exposed existence. Becoming smaller and more agile than their woodland cousins, they learned to exploit a much less nutritious variety of food plants. Though stags and hinds live much of their lives apart, they are, however, found together for most of the winter. It is essential, therefore, that the stalker is capable of accurately identifying the various sex and age classes, especially at times of poor visibility. Fully antlered stags are, of course, fairly obvious, but immature males and well-grown calves may be difficult to identify at times. The difference between the young and very old hinds is often noticeably striking, and they are not too difficult to recognize quickly. If the shooting requires the removal of middle-aged hinds, this is best left until the latter part of the season, when any dependent calves will have a better chance of survival. Where the culling of hinds and their attendant calves is necessary, great care must be exercised in linking one with the other. A poor calf is often indicative of a substandard hind, and it is best that both be culled at the same time. In the past, it was the practice to cull those middle-aged hinds not accompanied by a calf. In Scotland, these are referred to as yeld hinds. Modern thinking suggests that this may not always be good stock management. Middle-aged hinds without calves are almost always in excellent physical condition and usually pregnant as a result of mating during the recent autumn rut. The stalker's familiarity with the terrain and knowledge of deer behavior, as affected by the time of year and prevailing weather, is essential to the success of any attempt at finding deer. Red deer rely greatly on their sense of smell to warn of danger, and an appreciation of the way the wind is influenced by the varying shape of land is of prime importance if the stalker is to get within humane killing range of his quarry. To be successful, a stalker must dress to blend with the background and move with caution, constantly spying out his surroundings before moving ahead. In selective stalking, it may be necessary to move around or through other groups of deer to reach the intended quarry. This requires particular care and skill. The importance of the hind cull can hardly be overstated. By adopting the role of long-extinct predators, the stalker should ensure that overall deer numbers do not exceed the carrying capacity of the herd's home range. In addition to removing surplus breeding animals, a cull should include the sick and weak, thus improving the general health of the population. With modern firearms, a quiet approach and accurate shooting, death is swift and much more humane than being killed by any natural predator. As most predators are opportunist hunters, the stalker likewise has to make the most of any chances that present themselves. The hind season is a time for making the most of these available opportunities. The weather is uncertain, and work on the open hill may only be possible in short bursts.